Germany has been struggling with an energy crisis for a long time. The country needs more power than it can produce. Now there might be a way out of the crisis as Europe is looking towards Africa for help. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now. Lars, what can you tell us about the latest plans here?
Thanks for having me. Well, they're certainly interesting, although not entirely new. Let's start with this very latest news report. A consortium called Sila Atlantic is planning to import solar and wind-sourced energy from Morocco to alleviate the energy crisis here. The idea, giant solar and wind energy plants in Morocco harvest a lot more energy than would be possible here. And that's obviously due to the fact that Morocco has 4 to 5 times the amount of sun hours that we have here at the center of Europe. So especially with regards to solar power, the cost is very low, very attractive. Obviously, the more energy you can produce in any given plant, the cheaper it gets per kilowatt hour. With regards to wind now, Morocco actually doesn't have much more than we have in Germany. After all, we have some offshore wind parks that get lots of blow. But all in all, Morocco could put up plants with a capacity of 15 gigawatt and an annual yield of 26 terawatt hours. That would cover around 5% of Germany's energy usage.
But electricity usually doesn't travel well, Lars. How would all that solar and wind power get to Germany?
By cable, it's that easy. Well, it's not exactly that easy because we're talking about an undersea cable, 2 of them, as a matter of fact, each with a capacity of 1.8 gigawatt. And those 2 cables would start off in Morocco and lead to Europe, going by the coast of Spain, Portugal and France, through the English Channel, further past Belgium and the Netherlands, and then finally reach Germany through 2 separate terminals. Now, the cables would each be 4,800 kilometers long. And besides the fact that it would take some time to set them up, they would also be expensive to build. Estimates currently stand at 14.5 billion euros. And mind you, there's rarely ever a project of that size where the final cost is even remotely where the first estimate once stood. So we're talking about major investment, but the German government alone has just set aside 500 billion euros to invest in infrastructure. And the EU seems to be on board as well. We're hearing that the bloc might be considering naming this a project of mutual interest and possibly subsidize it through its Connecting Europe facility. That would include not only financial support, but could fast-track the approval process as well.
Okay, Lars, but this is not the first time Europe is trying to import energy from Africa. Why do people think that it will work this time after previous efforts have failed?
That's a good question. Indeed, some 25 years ago, there was a consortium named Desertec that already had plans to produce renewable energy in Africa and import it to Europe. Well, it's always been kind of obvious anyway. Africa has lots of sun, for example, and it has vast stretches of land where the necessary infrastructure could be built. And one could argue that sun and wind are a resource, much like coal and gas and metals and rare earths, meaning that by exploiting those renewable energy sources, the continent, Africa, would open up a new giant source of revenue. However, Desertec's plans failed to be technical and financial reasons, also to bureaucratic problems. Today, of course, we're looking at a different cost structure, with solar panels being much cheaper than they were 2 decades ago. And we're in the middle of a crisis, too, where the lack of energy or the cost of energy has often been identified as the major hurdle for economic viability in Europe, especially in Germany. So motivation might be a lot higher these days, and that is what the group is betting on.